is these motivated players who are willing to do whatever it takes to play.
And the opening kickoff delivered by Cameron Hall of James Bay. Kicked it short and contestable. Recovered by Capilano off a second pair of hands.
It looked like a near knock on there. Referee's letting it play, and Glenn McKinnon takes it in with good feet in the ruck.
Yeah, I think we'll see that often. Glenn McKinnon really is conversely the catalyst for the Capilanos. Chris Robinson's going to look for that sure value, get it to Glenn, get forward progress. Great. So there was a kick and played back, recovered by Elliot Mitru from James Bays, brought it back into contact. James Bays just looking to take play from the 22 to move the ball further down the field.
Here we go. There's that Chris Robinson, Glenn McKinnon connection you were just talking about. Glenn's making great yards up the middle of the field, setting up a good platform for Capilanos here.
Robinson to Charlie Jones, who puts a probing kick through to play, recovered by Elliot Mitru. Again, under pressure. There are lots of Capilanos there. Plays just outside the 22 of James Bay. Just looking for some forwards to consolidate, move the defense across. Spencer Dalziel's got his hands on the ball, finding Cameron Hall again with a kick right down the middle of the field. Probably not exactly where he wanted. And Glenn McKinnon on the charge to Chris Robinson. We've got a 2-on-1. We got a line break. Inside no-look pass. Unfortunately, knock on a hand. Looks like there might have been a slight knock-on. Referee saying play on. And we come back to the initial knock-on.
I have to say, Chris Robinson made a great decision to keep it and take it on there. It was 3-on-1. I have to question the over-the-shoulder suicide pass there. We shouldn't be scrumming down. We should be looking at a try scored. Again, that just goes to the decisions in the moment.
Well, he would have got an A for effort and a C- on execution.
Isn't that always the case?
Yeah, best laid plans. Interesting to see the two front rows as they get to know each other here this afternoon. Cole Racine and Toby Payton going head-to-head. Toby Payton's a player originally from Kelowna, I believe, and played for many years at U Vic. Kind of disappeared off the radar there. Forest Fighting, I believe, and he's back in form in the first division and loosehead prop at #1 for Capilanos, wearing 16 today. Referee's just looking for some help. I think we're missing a touch judge. There may be just a break and play. I think maybe #7 for James Bay. Ring Slavica has got
Likely
some blood and
sub.
wants attention. So we'll have a temporary sub as he gets that little mess cleaned up.
It's hard to tell from here. It might be coming from his nose or from his mouth. There is, again, hard-hitting contact like we always see between Capilanos and James Bay.
No love lost. Good, intense, aggressive rugby. That's what we're going to see today.
I have to say Capilanos is a great club to be playing at. A little bit of bias here, but I know the fans really appreciate the covered stands. Not that we need them today. I followed with all of the supporters in the stands cheering everybody on.
Yeah, at least a couple hundred people in attendance today, and here to watch a marquee match of our CDI Premiership. Penalty appointed here to James Bay, and as he kicked the touch, we'd like to thank our sponsors, the wonderful people at Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avison Young, Thorstenson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, and the Big Kahuna. First throw in from James Bay, gone to the back of the lineup. Probably maybe not the best choice as it's the most difficult throw. Throw's not straight. Was recovered by Capilanos, and the referee's going to come back for a scrum for the Capilanos.
And I think this is our chance to see what our newcomers, number 12, number 13 in the centers for Capilanos, Cody and Nathan Yamagia. Let's see what they have here on attack.
There'll be a good clash matchup today between the two scrum halves, Chris Robinson and Spencer Dalziel, veterans of the competition. Having played many games to each other. And there we go. Spencer Dalziel is able to pick the pocket at Chris Robinson at the base of the scrum, but he's being signaled as offside. The referee's going to come back and give the mark to Chris.
And looks like Charlie Jones here is lining up to go for touch.
I do want to make a comment. There's some pretty good heads of hair going on the Capilanos this year. Charlie and Glenn McKinnon. Very bohemian look. Again, excited to see the youngsters, so to speak, here for the Capilanos, local high school products that have played for BC. Played some varsity and now playing Senior Men's Premier League. I think it's just a great indication of the hard work that Capilanos do to grow their talent and keep them in the mix. Long throw to the back to Glenn McKinnon. Cody Pickman, known for his physicality, and just kind of ran over two guys and has been stopped short just at the try line. Able to present the ball back. Lots of hands on that ball. Not sure who's got full possession. Looks like Capilano ball at about 3 to 4 meters to go. On to Nate Yanagia, who stretches, and try is scored.
And that is exactly what we were talking about. We were waiting to see that from Cody Pittman. Those two big centers for Capilanos. Lots of strength in that go-forward rugby.
Little extracurricular activity. I don't think James Bay appreciated being scored on. Some pushy shovies there, and I don't want to see the tone of the game denigrate so early. But obviously James Bay not taking that try well, but a very well executed try by the Capilanos.
And if it wasn't for Nathan's powering legs there, I would have questioned his decision to take it on. I guess he was a bit closer to the sideline more than we can see here from the commentary booth, but he did have a two-man overlap, and it's lucky he scored the try.
Well, everyone gets a little white line fever when they get close, and in this case, A for effort, A for execution. So Chris Robinson's going to attempt the conversion. Not too far out, certainly not very difficult, well within his range.
Chris Robinson's very dedicated, number 9. He's out here on Wednesday nights practicing his kicks, and let's see how that might have paid off.
His father is the outgoing president of the Capilanos. He may not have a choice. It's a family affair here at the Caps. He would obviously like to have a second shot at that, and if they score another try, maybe we might have that happen. So James Bay is going to drop the ball back out into play for the Capilanos. Capilanos up currently 5-0.
And I might be mistaken, Mike. There looks like some angry faces on the James Bay side right now. I would be surprised if they don't come back now.
I think James Bay is known for their competitive edge. They're going to be right into this party, right into the end. So long probing kick taken safely by Jeff McKinnon. Cleared out again. Chris Robinson to Jordan Harvey in heavy contact, but numbers are there to secure the ball. Ball's moved to Charlie Jones, who puts a long kick down over the halfway mark, just in front of Elliot Mitru. Well received. Puts a long probing kick back into the 22 into the hands of Glenn McKinnon, who has decided to kick. A little bit of a handling error. Gone backwards as signaled by the ref for Spencer Delzile. No, he has come back, unfortunately, on the initial knock-on. Probably many rugby coaches saying, you're a forward, don't kick. But it did work out there for Glenn.
Yeah, so far that number 8, Glenn McKinnon dropping back for the counter, has been working out very well for the men here at Capilanos today.
I believe Elliot Mitru, the fullback for James Bay, used to be a varsity soccer player at UVic, goalkeeper, so I expect to see some pretty nifty footwork out of him today. I believe actually Elliot, to that fact, is number 3 in the scoring race.
Good job stabilizing the scrum from Capilanos. James Bay is really putting on a lot of pressure. And here we go again through the hands to Cody Pittman at number 12 with a big hit in the centers. Great defense by James Bay.
Yeah, James Bay have expected some traffic in that area. They've put 2 back rowers in the centers today. Tyson Agoody and Ben Johnson, both who have played for the BC Bears. So the center should be soundly met by some gents that are aptly ready for heavy traffic. Nate Yanagia able to show his stuff, move his feet along. Ball's moved out to the wing. Pushed through down the line. It looks like it's going to roll into the, I was going to say end zone, but it's into the own goal area. It's going to be a 22 dropout by James Bay.
Number 11, Roddy Carroll. Oh, sorry, he's wearing number 14. Roddy Carroll is an import from Ireland, and he's quite a small player on the field today, but he makes up for his skill and his speed in that.
And there he is. He was back to receive that bounce kick that went to ground. Ollie Chambers moving the ball to Charlie Jones, who elects to put the probing kick within the 22. Did not get the friendly bounce towards the touch line, which I understand is a bog over there. Returned again in the air by Elliot Mitru. To the Capilanos, an attack down the short side with numbers and support. Ball carrier brought to ground. Bit of urgency there. Need to get this ball in play. Capilano's taking it into the heart of the defense at James Bay.
And I think Capilano's had a good spread there for that counterattack. I actually would have liked to see it go through the hands and attack it closer onto the weaker side. Now we're getting back into some slower phase rugby, lots of hard hitting, tight pick and goes here while they're setting up the platforms and looking to open up their backs again.
Yeah, definitely just trying to create some space here. Yanagi is able to move the ball to Chambers, who moves Carius, release, but he does off back inside. Tackled there, James Bay, hands in the mix, picked up by Jordan Harvey, soundly met by Graham Harriman, who plays for the U.S. Eagles. Hamish Taylor carries the ball on a pick and go down the short side right in front of us. Ollie Chambers out to Charlie Jones, moving the ball to Reed Tucker, another local Capilano product, played for UVic last year in Canada under 20s. Ball released to Charlie Jones out on the wing by himself. We got a highly contested breakdown there. Ball is presented into the hands of Glenn McKinnon.
And I have to make a comment about the James Bay defense right now. Capilanos are running hard at them, but James Bay is keeping their shape and they're being very tough in the rucks. And a great cross-cover tackle there.
Yeah, James Bay is very organized in defense. Penalty called by the ref. There was some obstruction off the ball to a defender there. Kills the momentum of this play. But no, James Bay definitely on defense, very homogenous, organized, and committed to the cause.
We're starting to see some contesting in the rucks, and the first guy in the ruck on James Bay is going for hands, looking to poach the ball. It's that quick reaction in those tackles that could turn the game over for them.
So a couple minutes in, the score, Capilanos 5, James Bay 0, and a line out for James Bay. I think they're going to target the back of the line out, looking for Graham Harriman. Right on the 15, clean take, referee, signaled a broken arm penalty here. Capilano's not respecting the tunnel, I believe.
And they're lucky they got that call from here. To me, it looked like another knot straight to the back jumper.
Yeah. So James Bay is going to organize something, going to run from hand into the forwards and target some traffic, create a fixation point in the center. Now they got options, both sides to attack. They have to go with the flow. Soundly met by the Capilanos. Capilanos are organized, numbers are present, and a penalty for Capilanos at the breakdown. Ball not released by the tackled player. Capilanos within kicking range, but they're about 43 meters out. They're going to offer touch here. Charlie Jones going to find touch just outside the 22 of James Bay with their throw-in.
It was a great kick by Charlie Jones. Unfortunate for James Bay on that not releasing call. It looked like they were starting to get a little bit of possession, and that's what they're needing right now to open the game up. Capilanos have had a lot of possession in the first half, and James Bay's done their job on defense.
So Jordan Harvey, another local North Van product, usually plays in the back row. I see he's moved to hooker this year, so we got to get a glimpse of his throwing ability. Opting for a safe jump, one of the McKinnons overthrew Jeff, but is recovered by Sam Lanigan. Again, contesting the breakdown. James Bay hands on the ball, slowing it down, but Capilanos are there to clear it out. Bit of a quagmire there, but the ball is produced. Carried forward again by Sam Lanigan. Carried again by the forwards. I believe that's Glenn McKinnon. Carried again, this time by Jeff McKinnon. Ball to the back, but James Bay is pressuring. Chris Robinson, ball to the hands to Charlie Jones. Taking on Spencer Dalziel. No one can find the ball. There's an app for that. Chris Robinson moving the balls out to the prop, moving to the forwards. One pass too many, recovered by James Bay. I believe that was Matt Mullins. And Spencer Dalziel here is going to look to ease pressure. Good pass, good service to Cameron Hall, who finds touch to take a bit of edge off here for James Bay.
So Capilanos here for the line out once again, and that overthrow to Sam Lanigan at the back of the line out worked very well for Capilanos as they continue to move the ball up the field with some tight picks. Again, good defense by James Bay. At one point they were able to hold them back and drive some yards back, which is what precipitated Capilanos to start moving the ball out wide.
You can hear the local fans, again, more than a couple hundred Capilano fans here today, enjoying a beautiful day of rugby. Rugby's so much better than our Christmas shopping, don't you think? Ball's moved to the hand of Nathan Yanagia. He's able to break through 3 defenders. An offload wonderfully to Austin Carius, who comes cross cover and support to be there for the outside pass. Try over in the corner. Great passage of play by the Capilanos. Looking very solid in the midfield. Andrea as a number 12 as well. Lots of north-south traffic there with the centers. Both Nathan Yanagia and Cody Pittman, 2 times they've broken the line, been able to offload, and we've been able to score.
Absolutely. What I liked about that play there is we have our blind wing coming across and being the support for the offload. It just gives the backs that extra player that perhaps James Bay hasn't accounted for as they're coming in from the blind side. He got a great offload and an open field to the try.
Certainly, when that blind side winger comes into play, it's tough for the defense to track. You got a guy coming all the way from the sidelines. It's an extra number, free set of hands, over for the try. Very good passage to play. Chris Robinson trying the conversion from the other side of the post this time. Well within his wheelhouse.
With that second try, Capilanos now lead 10-0 over James Bay. And the conversion is good. So we're sitting at Capilanos 12, James Bay 0.
With lots of time to play.
So the James Bay Athletic Association is a fairly long-standing club within BC. They are now celebrating their 127th year in existence, although rugby at James Bay only started around the 1900s, which is just shortly after the BCRU had started. And here at the BCRU, as you may know, we are also celebrating our 125th year.
Long drop up by Cameron Hall, received by Chris Robinson, just on the brink of his own 22 line. Capilanos taking it up in the forwards, keeping it tight, lots of numbers, producing that ball. Robinson to Jones, opts to kick, move the ball in the territory. Good kick, well beyond the 40-meter line of James Bay. Elliot Mitro to relance. Tried to put a kick in, but Austin Carius is there to receive, who returns it. Brandon Harrison at the reception, I believe, for James Bay. Opts to move the ball to Tyson Goody. Unfortunately, it's knock on the hand. There will be a knock on. We're going to have a Capilano scrum.
And personally, as a player, Mike, I like to force those passes and let them come up with the mistakes, those knock-ons. It's a perfect gimme for the Capilanos here. I like, personally, again, as a player, I like to put pressure on the back line, make them move the ball through the hands, and if we get the tackle in, we'll turn it over, or again, we force the knock-on, and we get possession either way.
I think everything's okay. I thought there was a bit of man management going on for an injury, but we're here to resume. Capilanos with the put in.
And again, Capilanos are up 12-0 over James Bay, but something that us as a women's team at the World Cup this year, we continuously said to each other is this game is won in 80 minutes. Even though Capilanos is up right now, the game is certainly not over.
On one thing that James Bay has historically proved is they're a top quality side who does not go down swinging.
And a good show and goal by Ollie Chambers to get some yards there for Capilanos.
Good movement down the blind side of Jeff McKinnon. Ball produced again. Reed Tucker carrying that ball into heavy traffic for James Bay. Held up, but the ball will come down to ground. Capilanos taking their time to get organized. Everyone getting back into their role, into their space.
And again, you've mentioned it before, Mike, but I think number 13 having Tysta Goody in the centers is boding well for the James Bay defense.
Good carry by Toby Payton there in heavy traffic. Chris Robinson's opting just to restart with Jordan Harvey. And it looks like there's an obstruction there. They're trying to do a bit of a move and maul there. Looks like the referee did not appreciate that.
So we've got an obstruction call, and the ref is just calling James Bay to come over to the mark before they kick it.
Touch not found by Cameron Hall, safely received by Austin Carius. Move to Chris Robinson. To the fullback, to I believe it's Roddy Carroll. No, that's Roddy Carroll. On the edge, he's able to go into contact, produce the ball. Chris Robinson probing down the blind side. Still in play. Up pass, long pass obstructed by James Bay, but it's gone forward in their advantage. Glenn McKinnon on the attack. Good stiff arm tackle, running into 3 defenders. Able to produce the ball. Hamish Taylor attacking down the blind side. Well, I had the numbers wrong on the program. That makes sense. Cody Pittman, good release and contact to Jeff McKinnon. Able to keep the ball alive to Toby Payton. He's a load. Glenn McKinnon receives the ball, opted it across the field. Reed Tucker to Charlie Jones. Ball's not gone on the hand. Ollie Chambers fighting for his life in heavy traffic.
Being held up by number 14, Brandon Harrison.
This could be a turnover. James Bay highly contesting the contact points. Ball has gone to ground. And we're going to see a scrum here, James Bay. At this time, I'd like to thank our sponsors who, without, we would not be able to broadcast this game today and bring you live CDI Premiership action. We'd like to thank Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avison Young, Thorson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, and the Big Kahuna. Ball was able to get exited by James Bays. Come in back inside hard with Ben Johnson. Is able to make the gain line. Quick ball produced for Spencer Dalziel, releasing Graham Harriman in heavy traffic. Jordan Harvey's there to contest the ball, but James Bay's got the ball to ground. Moving the ball again further. James Bay coming back on an inside angle. Reese Davies with the hard work. Being held up by the Capilanos. We may see turnover here. I'm not sure where that ball is, and I don't think either team knows either.
And I think this is the break that James Bay is looking for. They're finally getting some continuity on offense.
Yeah.
And those quick
Turned
rucks,
over
but
by
it
the
is turned
Capilanos.
over.
And release. Reed Tucker on the travel. Finds Nathan Yanagia, who's on the trot. Releasing the ball to Austin Carius. This time I got the numbers right. Well done, Austin.
Great cross-cover defense by number 15, Elliot Mitru for James Bay. Possession is still within Capilano's. Big fight on the goal line here.
Knocking on the door. Spin move, Austin Carius. Dive for the line, but I don't think he's across. There are numbers. It's a bit far from us. Advantage for Capilanos. Some infractions of the breakdown.
Again,
We got a free to
excellent.
here, and try scored by Capilanos.
I was going to say excellent post defense by James Bay, but it does look like Capilano's just dotted it down.
Very good passage to play. Turnover on defense, creating the ball, exploiting that opportunity to score points in the corner. Well done.
And something that I
Capilanos.
like what I'm seeing here from both sides is the intensity and the speed of the game right now. Having those quick rucks really opens it up. And rugby's tough to play when you're 15 on 15 and matched up on defense, and it takes those quick rucks to start manipulating the defense to find those holes and get into the space on the backside.
Understood. It's a beautiful day, but that does look like a heavy field. Both sides, notably James Bay had 2 or 3 quick passages there, able to get that ball out. Spencer Dalziel able to eject the ball into play. Unfortunately, they're there, got held up there, turned over for Capilanos. Charlie Jones was getting some attention there from the medic. This is going to be a long, difficult kick for Chris today, I think. It's very close to the boggy touch line on the south side. Good strike.
A great strike, but the
Great
flags
strike. Had the
don't
distance,
go
but
up.
not the accuracy.
I think on that side of the field, as a kicker, something would be difficult to contend with would be how soft the grass is, and your feet might just slide, offering just a contact on the ball that you're not quite expecting.
So here we are. Capilano's up 17 to the zip with James Bay on the dropout. James Bay may be down, but they're not beaten. I expect to see lots of them. Lots of rugby to be played today. Good high kick taken in the air by Glenn McKinnon. The Capilanos are right back at it, just outside their own 22. They've been able to keep their feet, lots of numbers. They're looking to drive this, which I'd love to see in a rugby game, not having people go to ground. Able to keep this ball moving. They're edging James Bay back centimeters at a time. Hopefully the ball is back there for direction. Chris Robinson directing troops. James Bay committed to the contact, but they are going backwards slightly. Lots of hard yards there in the forwards. And unfortunately, a knock on at the release between McKinnon and Robinson. So we'll have a scrum here. Lots of hard work done there by both forward packs. And James Bay has the scrum.
And again, what we saw there just before the whistle again is that number 14, Roddy Carroll, that blindside wing coming in and penetrating the line. So having that blindside wing coming up is just gives a 2-on-1, makes the defense, makes the tackler think you know, where am I going to go? Who am I going to take on this? And again, it's about getting the ball behind the line, because that's where the game starts to open up. So James Bay's scrum here, right side of the field. James Bay's looking to attack again and get some solid phases of play.
Great long pass from Spencer Dalziel to Cameron Hall. Tyson to Goody with a great line break, able to keep his feet in the first defender. Release to the open side. I believe it's with Matt Mullins again carrying the ball forward. Capilano's under pressure here. James Bay doing what they do best.
And this is really the first time that we've seen Capilanos on defense. Nate Yanagia just flying up, targeting number 11 there for
Chris
James
Slater,
Bay.
yeah, under pressure, but did well to hold on to the ball. Spencer Dalziel continuing with the flow to Jim DeGoody, who's able to spin out 1 or 2 tackles, goes to deck, produce. James Bay getting organized to restart. Dalziel probing her on the blind side, soundly met by Jordan Harvey.
Jordan Harvey's a hard-working rugby player. Like we said, he's been moved from the back row into that number 2 position to take the space of injured Clayton Hunter-James. And, you know, I think it's actually a great decision on the Capilanos coaching staff to bring Jordan into that number 2 position. He's a hard-hitting, really tenacious rugby player.
Good blue collar kid. So no, Capilanos is creating a pressure environment for they're testing James Bay. I think that was pretty much an unforced error there. Lost the ball, and now it's going to be a Capilano put in. Charlie Jones is down again, getting attention. This could be his second time in as many minutes.
And although we don't want to see injuries on the field here, Mike, it is a great time for teams to catch their breath, to regroup, and to refocus. You can see Capilanos having a conversation here, whereas James Bay is just kind of saying, let's get on with this.
Yeah, but if the shoe was on the other foot.
Exactly,
Capilanos
exactly.
Would say, let's go.
Exactly. It's amazing how much patience we have for our own players, but not the other team. And, you know, sometimes it could, I don't think, I know that Charlie Jones has had elbow injuries in the past. It looks like he's holding it again, but sometimes it is a tactical move to take a knee and buy your team some time.
Charlie Jones of the remarkable Jones family. Charlie's twin Ben is an excellent rugby player as well, and younger brother Harry is kind of the new star in the Canadian Rugby 7s and 15s program. And I'm sure Harry's watching the game somewhere, and Harry, we say hello.
And here we go, scrum down, Capilanos within their 22.
Good push by the Capilano scrum. They're able to push back their counterparts, create some space from Glenn McKinnon, who releases the ball to Chris Robertson, puts a probing kick through to Elliot Mitru, who's going to relance. Almost beat the first defender, but great first-time tackle. I believe that was Reed. Oh, no, it might have been John Langley here. Can you help me out? Can you help me co-broadcast this game for me? There we go. There. Graham Harriman on the ball carry. He's able to release the ball from ground, which is very skillful. Carried forward by James Bay. Looks like that ball is spilled out. Probably a legal set of hands as the referee's giving the penalty to Capilanos. This is James Bay's first kind of opportunity in the Capilano end. They've got the option to kick for touch or for points, and it looks like they're going for touch to retain possession and get another shot at the door here.
So it looks to me they're going for 7 points instead of the 3. And they are starting to pick up the momentum and getting the possession that they've been waiting for all game here.
I'm sure the coach is screaming go for points, and they decided to go for 7 instead of 3.
You know, it's funny the confidence that some players get on the field. I know you've had it before, where you just see an opportunity and you want to take advantage of it, and you can see the play unfolding even before the ball's into play.
Great lineup by James Bay. Well taken to the height of his jump by Graham Harriman. Good assembled driving maul. Ball released to Spencer Dalziel. That was a great line out play after a penalty.
And you could see number 13, Tyson Goody, making that same penetrating line. Unfortunately, number 10, Cameron Hall, couldn't quite get it off, and it looks like we have another turnover for Capilanos.
Yeah, that ball screaming out of the breakdowns like a bar of soap. Nathan Yanagi on the rampage. Very few defenders and lots of space.
Great tackle here by number 14, Brandon Harrison. And again, Nate Yanagi is a very strong runner. However, he had 3 players outside of him, and I think had he made the cut and then looked for support instead of running away from his outside backs, it might be a different outcome right now.
Yeah, I had the line break blinders on. But good scramble recovery by James Bay, who's taking possession and getting back to task. Not too many Capilano guys on the open side. If James Bay can produce the ball, there's an opportunity here on the far side of the field. But these breakdowns are getting messy as the afternoon goes on. Highly contested environments. Spencer Dalziel with a release. Soundly met by Capilano, stopping him behind the gain line. 2 defenders present on their feet, slowing down presentation. But a penalty has been given to James Bay.
And Dalziel looking for the quick touch.
Right into the hands of Reed Tucker, who's brought him down with a second defender. Not sure what's going on. Lots of bodies all over the place. We're not sure where the ball is. Referee is there. Jim DeGoody carries the board. Little high body position, soundly met by a pair of North Van shoulders. Carried forward again by James Bay. Good aggression, good commitment to the breakdowns here from both sides. James Bay needs a little more urgency because they're not keeping that ball clean. Carried forward by Noah Barker.
And good wrecking here by James Bay. Jordan Harvey going straight for the ball, looking for the poach. And the quick support by James Bay ensured they maintain possession.
Ben Johnson with the ball, trying to get through the centers. Leg tackle by Nate Yanagian, taken up high by Cody Pittman, who's brought him down. Graham Harriman on the call again, the U.S. Eagle lock. Trying to probe down the short side, but he's soundly met. They're moving the ball, but they're just not making progress, James Bay. Ball lost in the breakdown. Knock on clearly to hand. Hamish Taylor on the run. He's through gap. He's got an outside support. Quite acrobatically brought down on the ground there. James Bay has mustered possession, but the referee's going to come back to the initial penalty. I think on that turnover, James Bay was in an offside position. Whoa, up. Didn't see what's going on. I usually like that kind of stuff. Missed it.
Yeah, so what basically happened there is Nate Yanagia is looking to move the ball to take a quick penalty. 15 here for James Bay. Elliot Mitru, he was just holding it in, and when Nate kind of gave him a little shove to get the ball, Elliot throws in a kick right at Nate's knees, and teammate Roddy Carroll didn't like that whatsoever.
No signal from the touch judges, so I think they might have escaped notice. But I think there's about 250 people that'll swear an affidavit in the fans. Referee just having a quiet word with Cole Racine and his captain Spencer Dalziel. I think it's probably to talk about a little bit more discipline at the breakdown. Yes, BCRU does offer referee courses on a frequent basis. So for all those armchair referees, including the players on the field, what a great opportunity to give back and become a referee.
And I do have to say, Mike, I got asked to ref a U16 game the other weekend, and I've played a lot of rugby in my day from club to an international level, and I have to say, being on that side of the game, stepping in as a referee, it's a totally different way to experience the game. And I know I didn't have a perfect game that day, but there's lots to learn there, and I would definitely suggest that any elite player, any coach, any fan that has something to say about the referees' calls, sign up for one of those referee courses and give it a go, because it is a very difficult job. Well, and of course the game doesn't happen without them.
Referees are completely invaluable. You can't play rugby without them. But if you're a former rugby player or a rugby fan who doesn't want, or your body's broken down, can't no longer do the physical contact, what a way to still be involved. And have an excuse to get out of the house and referee a game. Granted, you need some thick skin, but I think the rugby community here could do a better job of being a little more sensitive to the referees.
And it's interesting too, because every ref will ref it in a very different way. Like Chris Asmith, one of our local referees, I know he likes to ref it for the players. He wants to see the play develop. So players just can't get caught up in what calls may be being called or not being called. You have to play what's in front of you.
Great lineup from the Capilanos, and ball carried out to Ollie Chambers in the wing here. Carried through, very right in front of us. Lots of activity. Jeff McKinnon into heavy traffic, sternly tackled by Ben Johnson. Seems very motivated. Jordan Harvey carrying the ball into traffic, brought down by Tyson Agudi. Capilano is on the path here. Toby Payton carrying the ball just inside the 22 of James Bay. In the sure hands of Glenn McKinnon, who trucks forward for another couple meters. Good pass and release by Reed Tucker. Jeff McKinnon with a clean set of hands. Moved to his tight head prop, Evan Marshall, who's been brought down just close to the touchline. Chris Robinson finding Jeff McKinnon. Another point of fixation. Defenses to get organized and attack to get organized. Glenn McKinnon carrying it up. Heavy traffic. 3 Capilanos there to keep the ball. Ball's gone to deck, but it's gone backwards. Chris Robinson showing the show and go in heavy traffic, looking for support. Ball carried over the line by Charlie Jones. Great passage of play from broken play from the Capilanos.
And again, just another attribute to the speed of the game today. Nothing, no rucks, no balls are being left on the ground. Lots of offloads. In the tackles, if rucks are being formed, the ball is being moved very quickly on both sides.
Starting to see some tired bodies out there. Looks like Spencer Dalziel might have a bit of a strain on a hammy. He's limping out there. He would be a big loss to James Bay today because he's just so tenacious.
Absolutely. He's definitely a captain, a director out there. He's been a part of many successes for the James Bay Club over the last 5 years.
Say what you want to say about James Bay. The recent history suggests, you know, you get 4 teams in the mix at playoffs, but James Bay walks away with the cake.
Absolutely. James Bay coach Pete Rushton has been at the head of the helm for the last 10 years, and in his reign, James Bay has been able to take home 5 provincial titles.
That's a pretty good winning percentage. Chris Robinson looks like he would be my ideal golf partner on that little slice. Conversion is missed, but the score is 22 Capilanos, James Bay 0, with a dropout to follow. The score is warmly embraced here by the local fans. Long, high dropout to Cameron Hall. Good quality kick taken up in the air by Glenn McKinnon, but that was a sizable knock-on. The referee's going to come back and give a scrum here for James Bay just outside the 22. This is an ideal situation for James Bay to find themselves after being scored on.
And I have to say again, Mike, as a player on the kickoff, for the offensive side, there's nothing I like more than putting in a deep kick and having the opposition knock it on. Yeah. It's a free gimme, it's a scrum down deep in their end, and let's see what James Bay has to do with this.
Well, there is a bit of a skinny blind side of Spencer could get down and put away, but I think Capilanos are going to be watching that closely. Capilanos under pressure in the scrum, or James Bay, sorry, under pressure from the Capilanos. Ball moved to Cameron Hall. Moved away to Chris Slater. I believe he's got fast feet in the midfield, but soundly met by Cody Pittman.
And it looked like that ball to number 11, Chris Slater, was just off the back of his shoulder. He had to check his speed a little bit. If that was more of a leading pass, I think he might have had a go at the gap.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Slater's got speed to burn. Ball produced in the open side. Moved to Noah Barker here. He's kept his feet, spinning into contact, but eventually brought down. Spencer Dalziel continuing with the flow. Cameron Hall with a probing kick behind the defense. Soundly met there by Ollie Chambers. The ball's received, carried it out into touch by the Capilanos. So we will have, yes, correct, we'll have a James Bay line out.
There was a sweet little grubber there by James Bay, and it seemed to work out in their favor, driving Capilanos out of touch after they recovered the ball. And again, we have about maybe 5 to 10 yards out from the end zone. James Bay with the line out.
In scoring position. Throwing to the back of the line, overthrown, 50-50 ball. Got off of a foot there, the Capilanos. Referee saying play on. I can't see what's happening over there, but I believe James Bay has possession.
And James Bay has nobody on the blind side right now. They're fully overloading the flow.
Ball carried into Noah Barker again. Spencer Dalziel finds Cameron Hall with an inside pass. It hasn't gone a hand. James Bay under pressure. Spencer Dalziel there to recover again.
It's so unfortunate here. While James Bay does have possession, they are just being their worst enemies right now with passes to ground and to no one. And Capilanos have managed to drive them 30 yards out.
Well, Capilanos are here to play today in front of their home crowd. Very organized effort so far by the Capilanos. Ball moved to Cameron Hall. Again, a probing kick behind the defense, not quite under pressure. Lots of time for Ollie Chambers to receive that. And he puts a nice probing kick into the touch, just outside his own 40-meter line. A line out here again for James Bay.
And I have to say, Mike, something that I love about rugby is the tenacity that you need in your players. If something doesn't work off the first phase, it's try again. And like we're saying, against matched up defense, you need to maintain possession and hold for a number of phases until you can open it up. And
totally agree. Good line-out move by James Bay. Not got cleanly to hand, unfortunately blown up. Well, one thing about success in rugby is you got to be obstinate. You got to be obstinate, sorry. If you're not stubborn, you got to try again. Hard work and always outwork talent.
Absolutely. It's that mental switch that needs to be flicked. You know, if we're not getting through on the first phase, and sometimes we're not looking to get through, we're just looking to suck in their defense. So the tactics with rugby and just knocking at the door, manipulating the defense until you get that opening and you can bring it in for the try.
So a scrum here for the Capilanos, just inside their own end. Capilanos have been very sure, very solid at scrum time today, which is so important.
And it looks like James Bay has brought their open side winger up into the defensive line, leaving their fullback to man the backfield. If Charlie Jones is going to hands.
Good tackle by Chris Slater. Good presence on defense. Good aggressive tackle. Ball is bounced out. Recovered by Capilanos, but they are going to call a knock-on.
And it looks like bringing that open side winger up into the line paid off for James Bay there. Really aggressive defense. And pushing Capilanos back again into their end.
I think it's in a great move on defense. They got nothing to lose because they know Pittman and Yanagi are going to have a go, and more hands on deck, the better.
And there's something to be said about the speed of the defensive line. Just getting up in the face of the ball carriers can really mess them up. And again, it's about forcing those knock-ons and not giving them the space to step or to regain their speed.
Yeah, on defense, you really just want to take away time and space. James Bay scrum here. Good surge from the Capilanos. That ball is somewhere in the middle and recovered by the Capilanos. Glenn McKinnon to Charlie Jones, who's able to get across the gain line and through the defensive line, eventually tackled by Ben Johnson. Chris Robinson releasing it to Cody Pittman. He is alone. One arm offload to Nate Yanagia. Very well done. Ollie Chambers with a switch move to Austin Carius in traffic. Reed Tucker there for the relay. It's been brought to deck. Capilano possession just outside the 22 of James Bay. Referee's arm is up. It's an advantage for James Bay. They've been able to pick it. Spencer Dalziel into the heart of the Capilano defense, and the referee's going to come back for the penalty.
I have to say, Capilanos did a good job of keeping the ball alive. Lots of offloads there, but what was lacking was actually continuing to move the ball forward towards the end of their phases there before the ball was brought to deck.
There was a good link between the 12 and 13, though. Cody Pittman with a one-arm, bent arm offload straight to the hands of Yana Gear. Very well received. Good talent. Good skill. Ball received by Chris Robinson. Bring it into the center of the field. Having to go with little Roddy Carroll. Good cross cover. Pass knock on the hand. It's gone backwards, played on. Charlie Jones tackled by Tyson Nagoody. But they're going to come back to the original knock on. Scrum here for James Bay.
And this is the third time in about the last 5 minutes that James Bay have had a scrum on the right side of the field in this location. We've seen a good platform, good drives by Capilanos. On the last one, Capilanos managed to turn it over. And I'm sure James Bay is hoping to maintain possession here. And it looks like number 10, Cameron Hall, is planning some attack through his back line.
James Bay has to be leery here because Capilanos on defense have done a great job of contesting the scrums, putting them under pressure, taking away a clean ball. It's just not been a good platform for James Bay to attack. Spencer Dalziel he's limping. He's limping. There could be a little problem at hamstring here just on that half. We may or may not see him in the second half, to be honest.
Absolutely, Mike. And it's something to be said about the quality and the character of this player. He's really pushing through. Coach Pete Rushton hasn't taken him off yet, so it's clear to me that they see him as a leader on the field and want to keep him in as much as they can.
Well, I think the only way he likes to leave a game is on a stretcher, so he's going to be there for the long haul. Introduction, James Bay. Good stable scrum this time. A little bit of footwork to get it back. Trying to go down the blind side. Jeff McKinnon there to tackle Spencer after receiving the ball from number 8, Matt Mullins. All the James Bay pack is there. Not a lot of them pushing opposition. Just a pick and go down the blind side by Blake, the vocabulary hooker. Van Hinnigen. Sorry if I butchered that. Capilano create the turnover, the breakdown. Hands to Chris Robinson, who gives it to Jeff McKinnon, to Cody Pittman. In the defensive line, Nate Yanagia with a show and go, able to break. Two guys outside, ball released to Ollie Chambers, pushes it with his foot, and we're off to the races. Austin Carius being held back by Elliot Mitru. I think that he would have lost that speed contest. He's there, held back. Referee's seen it. He's going to come back. People off their feet. It's getting a little hot and heavy on the far side.
And that is a tough call, Mike. It looked like Austin Carius was starting to pass him. I would have to question it. I think he would have got the ball and put it in for the try. So it's, again, a tough call on the penalty. All of their momentum is being pulled back.
Yeah, Spencer Dalziel and Elliot Mitru are being interviewed by the referee here. I think there was a pretty big display of unsportsmanship, unsportsmanlike contact. We're going to see a card here. Temporary suspension, 10-minute rest break before the second half for Elliot Mitru. But, you know, depends how the game plays out. He takes the penalty there, or Capilano score the try. He obviously opted for the former.
Absolutely, and of course Capilanos have a choice to go for points, for 3 points here on the penalty, or they can continue to run it and try to get the points on the try. It looks like Captain Charlie Jones has signaled for penalty, so for a penalty kick here, so Chris Robinson will be teeing up the ball once more.
Now, one thing that could happen, obviously, with a penalty try, but if that hits a post, that ball is live, so Capilanos can't ease off. They got to chase the ball. James Bay's got to be ready for the worst as well. Many a try have been scored in a rugby game with a bounce ball off a post into the hands of either an attacker or a defender.
I do have to say, Spencer Dalziel there, he is still limping a little bit. I would have to question whether or not he's coming back in the second half.
The score is 22, Capilano 0 for James Bay. We're getting very close to the dying minutes here of the first half today. We're all bending forward to see it through. True to his mark, Chris Robinson with 3 points, and that is the half. Dying seconds it was. The halftime score being 25 points, Capilanos. James Bay was 0. And much more to come here in the second half. Mike James on the mic with Andrea Burke here at Klahanie Park on this beautiful November afternoon. We all rather be here than Christmas shopping. At this time, we'd like to thank our sponsors if we could. We're just going to cue the board up because without the sponsors, we cannot do these webcasts of our CDI Premiership games. At this time, we'd like to make special mention and thank you to all the wonderful people involved, the Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Nero Genesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avison Young, Thorstenson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, and the Big Kahuna. We can play clips. I think we're going to have some clips for you at halftime. Please enjoy and please join us for the second half of our game here at Klahanie. The last week of the first half of the CDI Premiership. Capilanos up 25-0 at the half over James Bay, but much more rugby to come. Many things to watch, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the show.
At Canadian Direct Insurance, we've all had a first car, and a second car, and then something that more closely resembles a bus. We've carpooled, car tripped, and carpool tripped. We've even had car mishaps. That's why we give you the kind of service we'd expect for ourselves. Canadian Direct Insurance.
Silly Willy Billy is a million miles away. When I had a little mind that I needed him to say, but I don't now, cause I'm mom and dad, I'm a grown-up boy. Saving all my money, gonna buy myself a new toy. Took a jet to the bottom of the visionary mind, where I'm making up the words to a song that doesn't rhyme. If you can't see me, then you better leave it no. Wait, scratch that, cause I'm never gonna be at home. Home, such a funny little thought. Everybody thinks now that I ought to rock. Nah, true, if you know what's best for you. Shut my eyes down now, can I get a deep blue? Sipping 7 up like a full-grown man. Even got a beard now, got it looking so grand. On a counterfeited land in the middle of my palm, and I can't admit I don't belong. Gotta jump now, it's almost 75 degrees. If you're looking at the window, bet you feel the breeze. Got enough sun now to make the skin wanna dive. Outside one time, let's fly, high rise. Got an itty bitty care on the itty bitty earth. If you don't know what to wear, then you don't know what it's worth. If you don't know what it's worth, then you don't know what you're missing. Everybody in the right mind gonna wish in. Oh. Okay, here we go. Ha!
Don't waste your time away in life. It's worth the wait. Never too late.
For every passion, there is an ultimate destination. A place revered by countless tales. For salmon fishing, that destination is Langara Island. Immerse yourself in natural splendor and enjoy the greatest fishing experience of your life at Langara Fishing Lodge.
We're live. Here we go. Again, welcome back to Klahanie Park. Capilanos versus James Bay Athletic Association in the final week of the first half of the CDI Premiership. First half has come and gone, and 25 points to 0 for the Capilanos over James Bay, but I expect those scores to be evening up in the second half. Chris Robinson with a good right-footed drop to the right side of the field. Caught and cleared by James Bay, bouncing off the roof. Penalty already, a tackled player on the kick. Not a great way to start the half, but I mean, obviously everyone's here for business. Brandon Harrison was there at the reception and the clearance kick, and was tackled, while in the process of kicking, and the referee feels that was a penalty. Just some other scores to note. Mayo Club Burnaby Lake is playing UBC today, and at half, I believe they're down 21 points to 10, UBC over BLRC. Capilanos here 25 points to 0 over James Bay. Capilano receiving a card there. Hamish Taylor receiving a yellow card for foul play on that clearance kick by Brandon Harrison. So Capilanos will start the half at 14. James Bay already being at 14 from a pre-existing yellow card in the first half for their fullback, Elliot Mitru. Cameron Hall with the clearance kick. Finds touch just inside the 22 of the Capilanos, despite the noble efforts of Austin Carius to keep it in play.
And just on the women's side of the game, Capilanos this morning over Bayside, 35-19.
Good old-fashioned rugby there by James Bay. A throw to the front, two-hand clean take by Jim DeGoody, and a nice driving maul to James Bay, keeping the pressure on the Capilanos well into Capilano territory. A few changes of James Bay. We're not going to get all the reserves correct here, but it looks like Spencer Dalziel is done for the day, replaced by number 20. We don't have all the names, so do apologize. We have number 17 is on the field as well for James Bay. And once we get organized, we'll figure out who's on for who. No other changes in the back line for James Bay to note. Ben Johnson into heavy traffic of Cody Pittman, and Nathan Yanagir for the Capilanos is able to get the ball back to James Bay. They attack on the flow, showing a goal with Brandon Harrison, my apologies. Not sure where that ball is. A lot of guys standing around bent over.
Bit of a messy
Still in the hands
ruck.
of James Bay. Jim DeGoody on the carry on the short side. Highly contested. Lots of Capilano guys there coming in low, trying to impede the exit of the ball. There's mitts in there. Good contesting by Glenn McKinnon, single-handedly being a thorn in the side of James Bay there. Ball comes to the Capilano side. Chris Robinson with a long kick down the center of the field. James Bay has no fullback right now due to the yellow card. And a bit of ball was kicked by Chris Robinson off a player. Play continues. Ball played quick. Chris Robinson through the gap to Austin Carius again. Soundly played, held onto the ball. Soundly tackled by Tyson DeGoody. It's going to be a chippy affair here in the second half. James Bay obviously not happy with the way things are going. I think we're going to see some incidents of aggression, and it's up to everyone to keep some cool heads and play some rugby as opposed to settle some scores.
I think that was a great hit there by Tyce DeGoody, stepping back inside. But I do, again, have to question the keeping the ball in hands, taking it on alone when Capilanos has four guys on virtually no defense on the outside. I think simple hands there would have got the yards that Capilanos was looking for.
I was knee-deep in traffic, and I think the only way he saw the way out was over the top, but well received by Austin Carius. Very athletic player. We talked about him earlier in the first half. Last year he was playing third division, got called up, and he's made the jersey his own since. Good athletic talent on the wing for Capilanos today. So it's going to be a James Bay scrum with the put in. Good settle, stable scrum here for James Bay. Ball's not getting out too cleanly. Kick from the base of the scrum half, well into Capilano territory. Bounces off the body of Ollie Chambers, but he picks it up and kicks it down towards the touch line, and it rolls into touch, moving the ball further down the field.
And with both yellow cards here, Mike, it is changing the dynamic of the game a little bit, whereas James Bay is down a fullback, but Capilano's is down a back row player. So it's up to each team to exploit where those openings are to get the results they're looking for. On a Canadian rugby side of things, we have Dubai Sevens coming up on December 4th, so please.
Missed line out, sorry. Oh, released Nathan Yannigan, not to hand because he had space to burn out there to go with his speed into traffic. James Bay recovering on defense. Ball produced. Robinson fakes right, goes left. Moves the ball, he Chambers. Toby Payton with a relay. Moves the ball to Roddy Carroll. Reed Tucker trying the corner. Well done. Evan Marshall scoring there. Reed Tucker, class act in there in the second row. Moving the ball down the line. And a forward's trying the corner for the Capilanos.
And those are those simple hands that we're talking about. They have a 4-on-2, just running up, fixing the defense, and moving the ball to the next player. It's a really simple way to play rugby, but clearly quite effective.
It's all about fixing the defender, creating space for your teammate, making sure the pass go to hand, and everyone move forward. So Capilano's marking the score early into the second half. James Bay might be short of answers today, but we got a whole second half of the season, and one thing that James Bay is good at is playing when the pressure's on.
Absolutely. The second half of the season always brings some interesting matchups. For whatever reason, sometimes the fall season, people are deciding to take a break, rehabbing injuries, and you know, the club culture in BC right now is huge. Everybody wants to take home that Premier Championship, so everything goes out on the line coming into March and April.
It is a bit of a disjointed playing season, if I'm picking up what you're putting down, Andrea. The rugby season starts here in September, plays until the winter comes in November, starts again in February. We finish usually in April and May. So it is a long season, but it is disjointed. I would be a proponent of us playing from that February to October window, just because we wouldn't be playing on slow fields like today, and we'd be playing in great weather.
So here we are at Klahanie Park. Capilano leads James Bay 30-0.
Long drop out to Glenn McKinnon, soundly met by Jim DeGoody. The Capilano audio-visual system is exploding in our eardrums, but everything's okay. Ball moved to Charlie Jones. He puts a high ball up just outside over the 50-meter line, received by Brandon Harrison and James Bay. Wall of Capilano defenders, just puts another high ball up. Make this a 50-50 situation, and it's worked in their favor. There was a big knock on, unfortunately, by Chris Robinson at the reception. Referees didn't play on, but I believe he'll come back to the original. He'll come back to the original knock on here. I'm sure that's a moment Chris Robinson would like to have back, but had time to catch it. But good tactical kicking about James Bay. We're gonna have a scrum here for James Bay, the big blue.
James Bay is in an excellent attacking position right now. If we can get those hard lines again coming in by their two centers, Ben Johnson and Tice DeGoody, we might see some penetration here.
Capilanos are up 30-0 right now, just in the early opening moments of the second half. Moving the ball to Cameron Hall, into Tyson DeGoody, soundly met by Nathan Yanagia. Capilanos are there on the ball, saved by James Bay. Moving forward to Graham Harrigan, the U.S. Eagle lock, into heavy traffic, running by and through Glenn McKinnon. But ball was stolen to the breakdown, but a penalty was called. It looks like it was Glenn McKinnon. Referee Harry is not in favor of that, so we're going to have a penalty here for James Bay.
And referee Harry Mason has done an excellent job of controlling the game so far. Of course, players never want to be seeing yellow cards, but they have been warranted, and they've been great calls on Harry's part.
I think the referee's done a fantastic job today. As always, Harry Mason's one of our top referees, and I always enjoy doing the games when he's reffing. Front option chosen by James Bay, but knock on the hand. I believe it's been knocked into touch off Capilano hand, so James Bay will move up about 3 meters and have another throw in. Just outside the Capilano line. Going to the back this time, good take, Graham Harriman. 2 solid hands on that ball on a middle jump fade. James Bay's gonna look to drive this over the line. They're calling in all the troops. They've brought in the 2 centers. They got an 11-man maul in there. We can't tell, and they've gotten over the line. Good solid play. That reminds me of Queensland under the coaching of John Connolly. He was innovative in the sense they used to do a line-out drive and bring all 15 players into it. And that certainly worked for them.
And I was going to say, it reminds me of the French national team. That's exactly what we as the Canadian team saw this year in the semifinals at the World Cup. The France team was very solid in their mauls, bringing up to 12, 13 players into it and just driving it over the line.
Well, the key to that, doesn't matter how many guys you get in there, the key is that 2-handed line take by the second row. Graham Harriman's been very solid with an accurate throw. He's had a number of good clean takes, and from his takes, they're able to build a super stable platform, and that's just really one of their secrets to success, James Bay, when they get close to the line. Good, solid line take and a drive and maul.
Absolutely, Mike. And here we are. James Bay finally gets points on the board, just short into the second half. And again, this game is not over until the 80th minute. So they do have a couple of tries to claw back to, but I wouldn't put it past James Bay to make an effort for it.
Elliot Mitru has joined the game back, and he's just in time to try the conversion, but unfortunately he's just gone short and wide, I believe. So James Bay is at full numbers, 15 against Capilano 14. Capilano number 7, Hamish Taylor, still serving the remaining minutes of his yellow card. And I believe Harry Mason's just calling him back to the party. So now we're 15 on 15, score being 30-5 with lots of rugby to play here this afternoon at Klahanie. Just before the game starts, the referee's reminding him, Hamish, who is in charge. He does have the whistle.
So we're back to 15 on 15 at Klahanie Park. If you're in the area, we're located just at the north side of the Lionsgate Bridge, right behind the Earls on Marine Drive. Come on out and join us for great Premier Rugby action.
Okay, here we go, no problem. So long probing kick by Chris Robinson, received by Brandon Harrison, trying to just pop over the defense to recover the ball, but it rolls in a touch. So we're gonna have a Capilano line out here. About 30 meters away from the James Bay try line. Jordan Harvey with the throw in today. Good talented roster on the Capilano. Some good young players committed to the cause. Been a very enthusiastic performance by them today. This will bode well if Capilanos can improve their execution for the second half of the year. Jeff McKinnon with a jump. Good, clean, 2-handed take. Transfers to his cousin, Glenn McKinnon. Referee's got his hands up. I believe there's some illegal sacking. Glenn McKinnon heading into Noah Barker. He's still making yards. Capilanos have the ball. Forwards are all present. Just going to grind it out, keep it short, consume their numbers, and try to create some space for their back line. Ball's right there. Jeff McKinnon taking it into contact, into Graham Harriman.
Harry Mason is saying ball is out. That was a great vision there by James Bay. Unfortunately, they didn't quite get the possession that they wanted. And good again.
Bouncing it off 2 defenders into a third. Finally takes a 4th guy to bring him down. Ball produced quickly here to Chris Robinson. Inside lazy pass to Austin Karius, but he was picked up by the defense there. Might have been better to go outside and penalized on the play, unfortunately, because he was met by a couple defenders. Good attacking option. I think outside might have been a bit better, but the intention was there.
I think Charlie Jones might have been a little hung out to dry there. Not to say that he couldn't make that pass, but it was a very long pass, and the defense wasn't too far. I think they would have had good pressure on the outside. I think he's a bit in a difficult position there. Ball goes back into Austin Karius, and he did not have the support to keep the defense off, and sure enough, we get a not releasing penalty.
To Austin's credit there, every time he's had the ball in traffic, he's been able to hold on because there's been guys waiting for him. I think Cameron Hall is getting more and more comfortable here for James Bay. His kicking has been more precise as the time has gone on. It is a big step coming in from Cowichan to be playing in Premiership for James Bay against the Capilanos, and he's getting more comfortable as the afternoon progresses. Line out take by James Bay, turning it into a driving maul, being soundly met by the Capilanos. They're going to break out there with Blake Vanya Hiningen. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering that. Ball behind Cameron Hall. Not attacking on the front foot, unfortunately. Got to just do a little better to tidy up those passes. Ball spilled forward from Ben Johnson. Moves the ball to Roddy Carroll from Austin Carius. Kick through. Elliot Mitru is there. And a great retaliatory kick long down the field. And it's still in touch. Great tactical kick. Evaded Chris Robinson's there, who's able to make it through and looking to attack down the short side. Capilano's with the ball here. Just going to start looking to get the engine going, running into contact, creating some points of fixation, committing the defense. Little scrappy, got well beyond the gain line there, but support's not close. Jeff McKinnon taking it forward, soundly into two James Bay defenders. Ball moved to Charlie Jones, to Glenn McKinnon in the midfield. Some magic can happen. Good stiff arm there, keeping his feet in tackle. It's kind of awkwardly fallen, but he has presented the ball back. Good contest of the breakdown. Robinson to Jones on the inside, back to Jones, the give and go, behind the back pass to Toby Payton. Toby Payton's off to the races. Big athletic loose head prop. Makes his pass to his counterpart on the other side of the scrum, Evan Marshall. Unfortunately not gotten a hand, but able to recover. Toby Payton with a long pass to Charlie Jones. He's gone for the long kick in the angle to some streaming wingers down the blind side. That's gone to hand. Reed Tucker in the recovery, moving it across and scoring. What a nifty passage to play the Capilanos. That is one of their trademark kicks, that long probing kick to open space with lots of outside runners chasing it. Great recovery by Reed Tucker, young second row, showing his talent. Not gonna lie, love it when a second row makes a highlight play, able to release and try in the corner.
It was a beautiful string of plays. You can definitely see Toby Payton just kind of kicking himself there for throwing the ball away, but that's what teams are for, and Capilano's recovered with a beautiful try in the left-hand corner.
When I coached the BC Bears, we had Toby Payton come play for us, so we played against Russia, and I was astounded by his foot speed. For such a big man, he had feet, don't take this the wrong way, feet like a ballerina. That guy could stop on a dime to pick up a nickel. So great show of speed there in the midfield. Unfortunately, his pass didn't quite go to hand, but the intention was there, and a great passage of play that turned into points for the Capilanos.
And in general, I do have to say that Toby is a well-rounded prop, and I'm talking about that as far as his skills go.
Yes.
He is, not only does he have feet like a ballerina, as Mike is saying, but his hands are generally quite good, so I think he was maybe more surprised by that pass than anything else.
Very talented footballer, big fan. Big long kick from the far side, bounces in. Gets the Capilano bounce off the post. Chris Robinson, true to form, kicks in the transformation, the conversion, as we mix English to French. The score being 37-5 for Capilanos today here at Klahanie.
Chris has got to be happy with that kick. So many of them are just going wide of the posts.
Nice quality dropout by Cameron Hall. Received under pressure by Glenn McKinnon, but James Bay's been able to do it. Jim DeGoody, well done. Made the tackle, was able to get his mitts on the ball. James Bay has the ball within the 22 Capilanos. Referee's arm is up for the knock-on, a secondary or third element knock-on there, but that was a great individual effort by Jim DeGoody.
And I have to say, this has been a tough game for the Nines today. Not only have we seen number 9 for James Bay, Spencer Dalziel come off. It does look like Chris Robinson for Capilanos is having a tough go, either trying to catch his breath or walk off a bit of a bump and a bruise right now. But that is one thing that we have to love about rugby again, is that physicality and that mental fortitude to push through whatever it takes to get the win for your team.
It's a hooligans game played by gentlemen. Capilano scrum here inside their own 22. My bet would be, under pressure by James Bay at scrum time. They've turned them 180. Referee's going to come back and give that scrum to James Bay. I think Capilanos could be guilty of coming off the mark there. Just relaxing.
Absolutely. Capilanos, looks like they're just after that big run. I don't know if they're relaxed or still trying to catch their breath, but it certainly looks like James Bay's on the front foot right now, knocking at the door, hoping to get more points on the board and close the point gap.
Credit to James Bay, that's what they're known for. Just when you think you've got them, they come back. They come back. So that was a great scrum by the James Bay Pack there. They've turned a ball against them to win it, and now it's James Bay ball inside the 22. Capilanos.
And I think what you're referring to there is a second half team, Mike.
Yes. They have a never say die attitude, and it gets them a long way.
We've got a release.
Chris Slater on the inside take. Good fast feet from Chris Slater. James Bay is able to kind of deke his way from a number of defenders. Contested scrum. There are lots of bodies. It looks like the referee's going to side with Capilanos on that, unfortunately. But
I have to say that was a great call by referee Harry Mason. Charlie off the tackle. Charlie Jones went right for the ball. As a result, number 11, Chris Slater, who has those great feet, had a great run. He couldn't release the ball, and Capilanos are rewarded with the penalty.
Yeah, some nifty footwork there from Slater. But Capilanos were salivating on defense there. Charlie Jones, Pittman, Yana Gia, they had their men marked and were not letting anybody play pass there. So
And
the clearance kick has gone off the roof of the stadium here. It's probably in the river now, but we found another ball. It's going to be a Capilano throw-in.
And here we go, step-in hooker, Jordan Harvey covering for Clayton Hunter-James. Again, just showing the diversity and the skill set that this player has. He's been throwing some great line-out throws today.
Good, hard kid.
And we have a full line-out here, 7-man in, and Glenn McKinnon is calling it for his team.
You're going to throw to the back, uncontested. Good two-hand take from Glenn down to Chris Robinson. Into Cody Pittman with a head of steam. Runs through two guys. Brought to deck, though, to his credit. Charlie Jones with a good kick down the middle of the field. There's two James Bay guys there to receive, standing in the same spot, so no release for safety. Brendan Harrison running sideways across the field, but he's found a gap. The rabbit is loose in the yard. He's running through. Oh, soundly tackled in the midfield by Glenn McKinnon. There was a collective gasp for air on the stands on that one. Noah Barker carrying this forward in the Capilanos. Or for James Bay, sorry. Tyson Agoody with the relay to Ben Johnson, his counterpart in the centers. They make part of a really good back row, the Johnson-Tyson Agoody team. Ball produced by James Bay. Capilanos in place, though. Cole Racine carrying it forward.
And then we're standing up a lot in our tackles right now, a lot of chest to chest. I think if we can just drop the level, get a little bit lower, we'll be getting the players to ground rather than having the fight on the feet.
Yeah, I never understood why you have two guys trying to tackle the same when they're all going high. One low, one high is needed. Tyson Agoody is able to keep that ball back. Example, two high tacklers as opposed to around the legs. He's able to keep his feet and present the ball. Knock on the play. Scrum for Capilanos. I just want to say hats off to Brandon Harrison there. Great open field scramble. Soundly met with a bone-crushing tackle by Glenn McKinnon, but he's up and at it, unaffected. Hats off to you, boy.
Absolutely, and I have to say, Capilanos, they had an overlap. They had two of their fastest players matched up against a James Bay prop. The huge mismatch there. Charlie Jones opted for the kick and put it right into the hands of the James Bay strong counterattack, and certainly put themselves under pressure with Brandon Harrison's quick feet and great steps.
Very evasive run by Brandon Harrison. Very impressive. So scrum here, Capilano. Body position seems a bit high. James Bay's got the nudge on him. Glenn McKinnon able to extract that ball to to Robinson, to Jones, who puts a long probing kick. Elliot Mitru is there for the reception. Think he's going to just send it back with another kick. Not a lot of hang time. Lots of time for Roddy Carroll to handle that, and nobody home. He sends it deep down, which rolls into touch just outside the 22 meters of James Bay. Good little session of aerial ping pong there. Roddy Carroll realizing that was a James Bay fullback who kicked the ball. No one there to cover. Long probing kick, finding space, rolling into touch. James Bay with the throw-in. Blake Van Heneggen throwing it in. I'm sorry, we're amateurs. Attempting to find Graham Harriman, who's been a point of strength for them in the lineup today. Capilano's release, skipping both centers to Nate Yanagia, who fumbles the ball in a contact. Advantage given to James Bay, and Harry Mason's making the call from the knock-on. Two knock-ons on the play, but the first one is by Capilanos. So we're going to have a scrum here for James Bay.
So a little unfortunate for James Bay off of the line out, but here they have possession again, other side of the field. And again, it's a scrum down. So Mike, we've referenced it many times today, but I have to say the community at BC Rugby is is amazing. It's absolutely excellent, from the referees to the supporters to the players and all of our sponsors that we've mentioned earlier in the broadcast. A game like this doesn't happen without the community support and volunteers that put their time in and day out to make BC Rugby the strongest
Capilano's
province.
won.
There we go.
Well, I think Harry Mason's going to bring it back. I think Capilano's thought they got off the hook there. The scrum was slightly turned, but they are going to reset it in favor of James Bay. But Jeff McKinnon was gone. He was able to recover that ball from the scrum and go over untouched in the corner, but that's not going to be the reality. So we have a scrum here for James Bay again. James Bay's been very competitive with the scrums here in the second half.
And the Capilano back three are in good position, anticipating a kick. But it looks like James Bay goes for the 8-man pick, likely to gain the relief kicker some extra yards. And here it is.
Good left foot, long kick by Cameron Hall. He's getting more comfortable. That was a good 45-minute kick. Unfortunately, not into touch. Austin Carius again in heavy traffic, but able to maintain the ball. Well, there's a one-handed pass. That's a little forward even from here. Nathan Yanagia pounds it down the field. But that pass was forward. So we have an attacking scrum here again for James Bay in the Capilano half, just outside the 40-meter line.
And great pressure there by Tyson Goody at number 13. And good reading. So he's coming up the field. He doesn't necessarily have to go to where the ball is, but just anticipating to where the ball will be. As a result, was able to put in a flattening tackle and regain possession for their team on the 40.
I've been impressed by Austin Carius today. Every time, if he's not getting the ball in space, he's getting it in heavy traffic, but he's been able to retain it and keep contact, and probably not the most desirable of positions, and he's done very well today.
Absolutely, Mike. Like I said, Austin Carius, 3rd division player last year, and now he has his position on the premier team.
Ball lost at the base of the scrum, a little miscommunication between 8 and 9. Ball scrambled forward by the scrum half of James Bay. Ball moving down the line. Not too much forward momentum at this time. Cody Pittman just getting brought down the ground and presenting the ball. Reed Tucker with another line break. Well done. He's done very well carrying the ball today, this young second row. I know his mother's in attendance, so.
And you definitely have an affinity for young second rows, don't you, Mike James?
I certainly do. We need more of them. Too many old ones floating around, living in the past. Elliot Meacher with a long kick into Capilano territory. Bounces right in front of Glenn McKinnon and Austin Carius. Goes off the foot of Austin Carius and then off Jeff McKinnon. I think everyone had to do a reference check there. That ball bounced off of 3 players. Although there was not a breakdown, I think there was some uncertainty for the offside line. So we're going to come back and give a scrum here to James Bay. Players are starting to look a little tired, but it's still a beautiful afternoon. Been a dry, crisp afternoon here at Klahanie. And thank you again for all our partners in making these webcastings of our CDI Premiership possible, so our rugby community can watch more rugby.
And it's really exciting how the game has been growing all the way from the age grade levels into the Premier Men.
Well, certainly the top performing team this year was the National Senior Women's Team with their second place finish at this year's World Cup. Losing, unfortunately, in the final against a very sound England team, but just an absolute success story of our wonderful female athletes at the Women's World Cup with the YouTube sensation viral try scored by Magali Harvey. And I think we're in the company of a couple of World 15 women's players here today. My co-host, Andrea Burke. Hillary Lath is here today. Anybody else we need to plug?
I think that's all for today.
I'm in esteemed company here, let me tell you.
Absolutely. And you know, Mike, the second place finish was pretty amazing, but what is even more amazing is what it has done for the women's rugby community at all ages and all levels in BC. There is such a firestorm of girls and young women wanting to play the game now. We're starting to create more programs, one of which is the BCRU Power program for the women, and basically is provincial opportunities for women's rugby all across BC. We're looking to grow the game for anywhere from minis to high performance. We want to get more BC players into the national scene and playing rugby.
Rugby is the fastest growing sport in Canada and North America. James Bay carrying the play well into Capilano's 22 here. Passage of play to Jim DeGoody into heavy traffic, producing the ball again. And James Bay's getting back to basics. Graham Harrison, some hard yards towards the try line there. Glenn McKinnon over the top to break down the ruck. We're not sure where it is. James Bay's gone to deck with it.
And really tight defense here by Capilano as James Bay is flooding the short side of the field, looking to just find the gaps, power it through.
Although James Bay won't be too happy with the result today, I think, but they've had a great opportunity here to bleed some new young players. Cameron Hall, the replacement scrum half. Chris Slater, he's a relative newbie, I believe, as well. And these guys are playing top minutes against the top premiership side, and that's going to bode well for James Bay in the second half of the season.
Absolutely, Mike. It's all about experience. It's all about being exposed to playing a fast level of rugby so the younger players can understand what they need to do to get to that level and be consistent on that stage.
Capilano defense in place. I believe it's Reese Davies taking that into hard traffic, but Capilanos are there. They're going to be patient. James Bay looking to attack it, get across the line. Sound tackle by Jeff McKinnon, assisted by Charlie Jones. Coming back down the blind side. Brandon Harrison, he's got fast feet. Careful. Jeff McKinnon there with a tackle to bring him to deck. Numbers are present to keep the ball. Ben Johnson carrying into Jordan Harvey and Cody Pittman. A couple Carson Graham graduates there. They're going to drag the ball into touch. I think just to continue on what you were saying, Andrea, our senior men's team unfortunately lost a game today against Romania to end their fall tour. Really, the only way to get better at rugby is to play more rugby. So I'm just happy to see our numbers play, our players be playing every afternoon, playing for their clubs. And that's only going to make our club system better and produce better players as they go.
And sometimes it can be a really difficult decision for the coaches. You know, do we sacrifice a win to get our younger players more experience to strengthen them to get more wins in the future? And these are just different decisions that coaches need to make as they make their starting lineups for each game.
Understood. So a bit of a scramble play, but James Bay is in possession. Again, camped inside the Capilano's 22-meter. Ben Johnson gone to deck. We've got hands of the ruck on the far side. Let play by the referee. Cameron Hall with a long play, trying to get it through the defenders. Went through a set of Capilanos. Arm is up from Harry Mason. Brandon Harrison with the ball. Tackled by Nate Yanagia, but we're going to come back to the original infraction, a knock on. Knocked forward by Capilanos, I believe. But this time we'd like to thank our sponsors, the wonderful people at Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira, Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avison Young, Thorstenson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, and Big Kahuna Sports. Scrum down here for James Bay, just outside the 22, the Capilanos. They've had good position in recent minutes here, James Bay. They're just in the Capilano territory.
Good position and good possession this half, Mike. It isn't, Capilano's dominated in the first half, but I think James Bay is getting, again, more possession and as such having more opportunities, being able to put at least 5 points on the board. And it looks like they, of course, are trying to get some more points here off of this scrum in a great scoring position.
I think what's lacking a bit of James Bay is their normal execution. Normally when they're here, they're just making that scoreboard tick. Today they're not having such luck against a very well organized and very competitive Capilano team. But I think James Bay is going to show their character. They're not letting up. There's no easy option when you play for James Bay. Chris Slater gone into Roddy Carroll, be able to break a tackle through the arms of Glenn McKinnon and another. But his turn back on defense. James Bay there to save the ball.
Again, I'm really impressed with the power running of James Bay's wingers today. Both
Capilanos have their hands on the ball, sorry.
Chris Slater and Brandon Harrison, great strong legs, power lines, and getting some good yards for their teams.
Those two guys must be just terrors on the dance floor. Looks like there's a knock on from the Capilanos who were able to regain possession from the Chris Slater break, but it is going to go back to James Bay. Again, positioned just outside the 22-meter of the Capilanos. James Bay's in their sweet spot, close to the red zone, close to the try line. They're just not having their normal finish. Not playing with their normal personnel today, but this bodes well for the system at James Bay, and just building character as we go here.
Absolutely. And for any team in this defensive position like Capilano's is right now, it is just so important to keep a clear head and see what's developing in front of you. Just closing up that space and forcing the errors on the James Bay side.
Waiting for the ball to come in. Capilano with a good second shove, but scrum half trying to go down the tight side, the blind side. Met by defenders. James Bay trying to get organized, get the machine moving. Pass before contact, into contact. Ball presented again.
Good yards, good setup by James
Out to
Bay.
Cameron Hall, to Ben Johnson. Playing back again, Chris Slater hits a mud patch, slowed him down. Producing the ball just outside the 22-meter again. James Bay ball here to Jim DeGoody. Inside pass to Graham Harriman. Falling through to Cameron Hall. Unfortunately, the ball spun through forward on his fingers, recovered by Sam Lanigan of the Capilanos. Charlie Jones, long skip pass to Glenn McKinnon. They're playing touch out there. Toby Payton to Jeff McKinnon. Got Nate Yannick, Cody Pittman outside him, unfortunately met with a set of oven mitts. We have a knock on.
That is just too bad, Mike. Again, great hands moving it out to the wing. I think if Cody Pittman had that, they would have had the yards. But we're coming back, referee Harry Mason for the penalty, just 15 yards out from the sideline, right behind the 22.
There would have been an offside player from James Bay in that transition from defense to offense for the Capilanos. Great passage of play, great set of hands. Toby Payton linking to Jeff McKinnon. Ball unfortunately not captured by Pittman because there was Roddy Carroll outside and a whole bunch of real estate.
And Jim DeGoody not looking happy with that. So Velox played UVic on the women's side today. It was an exhibition game, but the score was 100-5. Velox just tapping on the triple digits these weeks. Lots of retired Canada players on that side and just having a lot of fun. Julianne Zussman, who was playing on the wing and at fullback at the Women's Rugby World Cup, tied on her refereeing boots today, and she said she had a great time doing it and suggests everybody else try it as well.
Capilano with the throw-in. Just getting their tactical choice made. I think they're going to go throw to the front. Reed Tucker taking a good young second row. Jim DeGoody able to get his experienced hands in there and mess it up. He's very motivated right now. Jim DeGoody, being of DeGoody lineage, not used to being on the opposite end of the score here for James Bay, and he's starting to take things personally here. Sam Lanigan with the ball, releasing to Jeff McKinnon, who's able to break through a tackle, almost a hand of Reed Tucker. Knock on by the Capilanos, and James Bay on the counterattack. Tyson DeGoody, ball in hand, puts it to foot with a high kick that falls just outside the 40-meter line of the Capilanos. But Ollie Chambers carries it into touch. The touch, I think it's Conan Cooper over there. The touch judges, flag goes up. Good transition from defense to attack there by James Bay. Tyson DeGoody not having a ton of options, not a ton of support, opting to play off his foot, move the ball further down the field into Capilano territory, and here we are again, James Bay in Capilano half.
Again, we've mentioned it before, but we have to mention it again. James Bay is having a great second half, much more possession, better field position.
Yeah, they're just not getting points on the board, but they're getting a certain amount of certitude. Good tackle by Hamish Taylor there, and Ben Johnson upending him, bringing him firmly to deck. Cameron Hall moving the ball again off the foot. High kick into the 22-meter, taken by Ollie Chambers. Tackled immediately by Cameron Hall, which is an infraction. And Harry Mason's there to make the call. Chris Robertson and Glenn McKinnon opting to decide what they do. Glenn McKinnon, man possessed, going into contact and stopping. Tackled by Graham Harriman and Tyson DeGoody. James Bay coming in from the side. Sam Lanigan able to get the ball out, but we're going to come back for a penalty on that. Some people taking offense to that play. Blake Van Hannigan coming in from the side of the ruck to disrupt Chris Robinson. Not coming in through the door, didn't work his way through the ruck, came in from the side. Much to the dismay of the Capilano fans here. All of a sudden, there's about 251 referees, including John Langley.
It was getting pretty scrappy there, and if it wasn't the collar tackle on Glenn McKinnon, it was something else. And absolutely, some players getting in each other's faces, but Capilano's have possession here. Charlie Jones looking to kick for touch to gain the yards for his team.
I think James Bay is starting to get a little frustrated here. Things haven't quite gone their way, but they are doing actually what they do well. They're just not having the finish that we normally see them have.
Absolutely. Charlie Jones gets some great distance off of his kick. And of course, on a penalty, the team has an option to do a quick tap and go, so the ball needs to move off of the foot into hand. You can play for hands. A lot of teams might go into the forwards, crash it up for some yards. You can, of course, also kick for touch. From there, you maintain possession for a line out, and that decision's usually made when you want to gain more field position.
5-man option used by Capilano's, but decrypted and stolen by Graham Harriman at James Bay. James Bay in possession. There's some hair pulling and some targeting there. Glenn McKinnon in the middle of that maul by James Bay, but James Bay has the ball. Not clean possession. We're not sure who's going to win this at the end here. I think James Bay's got their hands on the ball and moving it here to Cameron Hall at fly half. Moving the ball to Ben Johnson. Taking it into tackle. Spin and brought to deck by Cody Pittman. Attacking again in the same sense. Cameron Hall looking inside for support. Finds Noah Barker, I believe. He's there, runs over Nathan Yanagi, I believe. James Bay on the trot, just outside the 50-meter line of the field. Cameron Hall moving the ball, gone to ground, unfortunately. Lots of numbers up there, but nobody announcing themselves as a ball carrier. Ben Johnson spinning into contact. Ball produced again. They're going to come down the short side right in front of us. Tyson DeGoody trying to get through some arms. Aiming through arms of defenders to get space. Ball comes back. Moving forward to Jim DeGoody. Soundly met on defense. Good shoulder tackle by Cody Pittman and Charlie Jones. Again down the short side. Jeff McKinnon on Tyson DeGoody. Ball presented back.
Tyson DeGoody is doing a great job at 13 today, while his regular position is number 8 in the back row.
Capilano's coming up on defense, meeting James Bay. Brandon Harrison in open space. He's been dangerous. A little kick through today for Chris Slater. Goes to hand. Oh, unfortunately in touch. That could have been world-class play. And ball has gone into touch, but they're still playing on, but the referee's going to come back for the foot in the touch.
Looked to me like Roddy was opting for the quick line out. Referee disagrees, and that's the whistle.
And that's a game. But geez, time flies when you're having fun, Andrea. We didn't even have to say we're in the final minutes. So a highly contested game of rugby. The score highly indicative of Capilano's success today. Capilano Rugby Club 37 points, James Bay 5. Thank you so much for watching our CDI Premiership webcast of a Premier Division men's game here today in November at Klahanie Park. I'm Mike James.
I'm Andrea Burke.
Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. I thought you were fantastic.
You as well, Mike. Thank you so much.
And one last time, we'd love to thank the people that make these broadcasts and these webcasts possible. Our sponsors, where would we be without them? Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avison Young, Thorstenson's, Langara Fishing Adventures, Adidas, Big Kahuna, and that's it. Thank you so much. It's been a great afternoon. Thank you again for joining us at Klahanie Park. This will be our last webcast of this half of the season, so we'll look forward to seeing you in 2015. Be safe over the holidays.
At Canadian Direct Insurance, we've all had a first car, and a second car, and then something that more closely resembles a bus. We've carpooled, car tripped, and carpool tripped. We've even had car mishaps. That's why we give you the kind of service we'd expect for ourselves. Canadian Direct Insurance.
Silly Willy Billy is a million miles away. When I had a little mind that I needed him to say, but I don't now, cause I'm mom and dad, I'm a grown-up boy. Saving all my money, gonna buy myself a new toy. Took a jet to the bottom of the visionary mind, where I'm making up the words to a song that doesn't rhyme. If you can't see me, then you better leave it no. Wait, scratch that, cause I'm never gonna be at home. Home, such a funny little thought. Everybody thinks now that I oughta rock. Nah, true, if you know what's best for you. Shut my eyes down now, can I get a deep blue? Sipping 7 up like a full grown man. Even got a beard now, got it looking so grand. On account of the land in the middle of a park. gotta jump now, it's almost 75 degrees. If you're looking at the window, bet you feel the breeze. Got enough sun now to make your skin wanna dive. Outside one time, let's fly, high rise. Got an itty bitty care on the itty bitty earth. If you don't know what to wear, then you don't know what it's worth. If you don't know what it's worth, then you don't know what you're missing. Everybody in the right mind gonna wish in. Oh. Okay, here we go. Ha!
Don't waste your time away in life. It's worth the wait. Never too late.
BC Rugby has a 125-year history, a history of success and pride. There's a place for everyone, young and old, boys and girls, one spirit, one team. Some play a small part, some larger, and some, the special ones, they know what it takes to grab onto that history and shake it to its core, inspiring us all. They train for hours, alone, pushed by will, determination, no one watching, no one cheering. They find a way to push a little further, to wring out one more set, one more rep. You know your opponent is training hard, so you train harder. Your biggest threat may not be the opposition, because someone always wants to wear your jersey, to take it from you. What are you prepared to do to keep it? That jersey, that crest, forever bonds you to something bigger, makes you stronger than you could ever be on your own. So you push harder, dig deeper until you have nothing left. Because it's all about the team, those fighting beside you now, and those who came before you. BC Rugby, one spirit, one team.